And in terms of running a business, obviously me, you run the same business, 24 Pictures, and so you made the shift to Egypt, and how are you balancing that?
Yeah, so what's interesting is I'm going to actually take you back to COVID time. So COVID time was an interesting period for a lot of businesses, and because you had a bit more time on your hands, everyone was working remotely, and our work a lot of the time was in person. So we'd go out physically and go to locations and stuff. And at that point, I think we both spoke about the need to set up systems in the business whereby we could be a little bit more free with our time to focus on developing the business. And one of the things that came out of that was obviously what we're going to talk about today, but managing the business, we realized that we needed to put systems in place because we both came from a background where we hadn't been taught these things about business. We had to kind of learn, like, look, you need to set up these systems, you need to put protocols in place, you need to have all this sorted. So once we kind of got to a point where we understood that, look, if we don't set these things up, we're going to be in the same position, essentially. We're never going to progress forward. So going now to where we are right now is setting up them systems in place, setting up procedures in place whereby anybody could do the work as long as they've got the skills. We've got that set up. That's then allowed us to manage things. Basically.
But for you, like you mentioned, like business, setting up a business. Obviously, I know for me, what did you want this business to do for you?
It's actually interesting. When initially, I don't even think I thought that far. I don't think you do. When you first go into something, you're just passionate about it. I was passionate about creating films. I was passionate about creating videos and telling stories and stuff like that. And at that point, I didn't even have a business head. I'd say for the first 5 years of this business, I never thought about business. I just thought about making nice videos and putting nice effects on videos. It's only when I think things get serious in your life, marriage, kids, family, that sort of things, and age as well, you start to think about the business side of things. And that's where I kind of decided that, look, you know what, we need to start focusing on the business side of things. That has allowed us to basically be in a position where we are now.
But like, what I'm saying is, like, what do you, like, how does this business, or how would you want it to serve your life?
So right now, it is serving my life in the sense that it allows me to kind of control where I'm at in terms of location. So, alhamdulillah, I can, I've got my laptop right here. If I have my laptop, I can literally work from anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And you hear a lot of people say this, these hijrah boys online, get your laptop and, you can work anywhere. And it's not as easy.
Yeah.
It takes years to build. Well, alhamdulillah, like, we're in a position now where, like I said, I can literally work from anywhere in the world. I've got my laptop. And what it's allowed me to do is to go, deeper in terms of deen, in terms of studying, and also prioritizing family, for work.
But what about people who say, how come you're not a millionaire yet?
Okay,
So for instance, do you, like, to be successful in business, do you think becoming a millionaire is, obviously profit is a big part of it, of course it is. That's why you go into business. But one thing I get often is, how many millions have you made? And for me, it's about, I know a lot of millionaires and I wouldn't switch places with my life with theirs. So, but like, in that sense, what about you though? How do you feel like in the sense of how much does your business actually need to bring in for you to live the life that you want to live?
Very, very, very good question. And, just going back to the millionaires thing, like, I'm going to come back to you on this now. So do we define success in business purely through how much you are making? Is that the measuring stick now?
Most people, that's how
For
it
most
is, isn't
people.
it? Yeah.
See, for me, like, it's different. For me, like, you can be rich in different things. You can be rich in time. You can be rich in relationships. You can be, rich in other things, So these, millionaires or whoever you spoke to, maybe speak to them about how much time they get to do what they really want to do, because all this time is spent on whatever. And some, don't get me wrong, have set up systems whereby they might work a couple of hours a day or whatever. But for most people, even millionaires, that's far from the truth. They work a lot of hours. But for me, like, that's not the measuring stick for me. The measuring stick for me is like control over time, because I think time is the most precious thing that we have. And even in our faith, like there's a surah in the Quran where they talk about, Allah says like you're in loss in terms of time. Yeah, you're constantly in loss, and this is something you're not going to get back. You can always make more money, but you're not going to get your time back. So it's like, how are you using your time on this earth to do what matters most to you? And I think for me, that is the most important metric.
Yeah, I think that for me, that's where I've seen that like a lot of people, they see money as an end and not as a means, and they think, right, I need to make 1 million, this year or whatever, and but they don't know what they want to do with the money. Like, i.e., what do you want to do with your life, and how much money do you need to do that thing with your life? It doesn't necessarily need to be millions and millions of pounds, but I think that's, for me, that's what it was. That what do I want to do with my life? Okay, now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me a business, and the business needs to help me to bring in the means for me to do what I want to do. That is, ultimately, I'm personally for myself, but I just want to know, like, from your perspective, in the sense of, because when you started 24 Pictures, like, actually, when you started media, because you started filming before I did.
Yeah.
So, when you started filming, your degree and all that, where did you see yourself going? And if it's not where you are today, then at what point did it change? Why did it change?
I think when I initially started, like, I wanted to get into TV. I wanted to get into making like documentaries and stuff for TV and production and stuff like that. And then I fast realized, like, that's just almost like slave labor. They pay you for what you do. Like, you're paid a pittance, unless you're actually the production company who come in with the contacts and the concept, and you can arrange everything. In terms of just working, like if you're just an editor or you're a researcher or whatever, you're just getting paid a standard wage. And I was like, look, I don't want to kind of be stuck in that sense. I want to kind of have that freedom. Goals do change down the line. When you initially start, you think, right, okay, I'm gonna set this business up. I'm gonna run the business, and I'm gonna be successful, and I make loads of money, and I'm gonna be able to retire at 40. Like, is the dream. But like, I think right now I've realized, like, the things that matter most to me are, your family, your health, your faith. These things are very important. And like, at some point, depending on what's priority to you, something else is going to have to suffer for it. And I've learned this down the line. Like the times where, like, me and you were burning like 80+ hour weeks where we were killing ourselves. Yes, we were making a lot of money, but then it's like, where were we in terms of the quality of other things in our life? Is your health suffering? Is your relationship suffering? And these things, and these are all tough decisions that you have to make on the journey. And that's not to say we don't work as hard now. It's just our energy is directed at different things.